All right, let's do this. What's up, Jets fans? What's up, party Jets Sports? I'm just going to cut right to it today. This episode is going to be about the New York Jets letting go or telling Aaron Rodgers that he's being let go. That's what this is going to be about today. And before I get into why that's in the best interest of this team, why that's a good thing, I want to start off with why this sucks. This hurts. Because when he was traded to this team, there was so much hype. We were so excited. I put money on the Jets winning a Super Bowl. I put money on the Jets winning the AFC East. The optimism around this team, everything was so perfect. It seemed perfect. It seemed too good to be true. We were getting Aaron Rodgers. And not only were we getting him, he wanted to come here. And for that, I don't care what I say moving forward, I will forever be grateful for the fact that he decided, you know what, I want to try winning one more ring with the Jets. That's the difference between this and Brett Favre. Brett Favre used the Jets to get to the Vikings. Aaron Rodgers wanted to come here. Now, there's some other circumstances with everything and why he wanted to come here opposed to other teams. But ultimately, he decided he wanted to be a New York Jet. For that, I'll be grateful. I am grateful for that. The team in 2022, 23. Well, 2022, you looked at that team, it's like, wow, you might be a quarterback away, right? You won 7 games, and now granted, you lost like 5 down the stretch. Like, it was bad down the stretch. And Saleh and Douglas, they needed a little something to convince Woody Johnson to bring him back, and you weren't going to draft another quarterback. Derek Carr and Aaron Rodgers were your 2 options. And ultimately, the Jets made the right decision going after Rodgers. With the option that we're given at the time, you just couldn't predict how terrible everything was going to turn out. Some probably could. Some probably saw, like, he was 39, 40 years old. He was already a little injured throughout 22. You could probably predict he was going to have some sort of injury, but just how fast everything went south. We joke around here a lot about the 4 plays, but really that hurts. It hurts that everything just fell south or just went south so quickly. The amount, how many times have we watched the video of him running out the tunnel with the American flag? That's the biggest highlight of the 23 season. And from there, there was some moments throughout 24, but it's tough. It's tough being a Jets fan. It's not fair sometimes. You look at it, it's like, we have a 14-year playoff drought. We can't find a solution at quarterback. We've tried. We drafted Geno Smith. We drafted Sam Darnold. We drafted Zach Wilson. And we traded for a Hall of Fame quarterback. And ultimately, it just sucks. It hurts. It hurts. But I did say that it was for the best. That they are moving on from Aaron Rodgers. And yes, Aaron Rodgers is a Hall of Fame quarterback. Yes, he probably had one of the best seasons of a Jets quarterback in a long time. Statistically speaking, like, he threw for nearly 4,000 yards. He had 28 touchdowns. Like, we've been hoping for a quarterback that could get those numbers last couple of years, right? Since, the best season we've had in the last couple of years prior, from a statistical standpoint, was Ryan Fitzpatrick. And Ryan Fitzpatrick, he hit the 30 touchdown mark. What do you have exactly? I want to make sure I'm getting everything correct. He had one of the best seasons of a Jets quarterback ever. That's another one that kind of went down, that went south quick, but for other reasons. He was 3,900 yards, 31 touchdowns. throwing to Eric Decker, Brandon Marshall, like, that was a phenomenal season. We were hoping to see some of that again with Rodgers and Garrett Wilson. They got Devontae Adams here. But I never thought it would go this bad. I didn't think it soured this fast. And with how divided the fan base is over this, kind of blows my mind. Because if you look at the 2024 season for Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, it wasn't good. Clearly, 5 games they won. They won 5 out of a possible 17 games. They lost more than double the amount of games they won. And you look at some of those games, it's like, well, coaching, kicker. You're trying to find excuses as not Aaron Rodgers, but ultimately he was a huge factor in a lot of those losses. You look at the games they won. They beat the Titans with Will Levis. They probably should have lost that game before keeping it above. They probably should have lost to the Titans if Will Levis had half a brain cell. They beat Jacoby Brissett and the New England Patriots on Thursday Night Football. They beat the Houston Texans because of a really good second half. But the first half was terrible. It was a terrible first half against the Texans. But that second half on Halloween at home on Thursday Night Football, yeah, that was good. I have a picture. One of my favorite things I got for Christmas this year was autographed Garrett Wilson picture from that game. That was a phenomenal game. Second half last. And then they beat Mac Jones and the Jacksonville Jaguars. They beat Tyler Huntley and the Miami Dolphins team that gave up. So you look, 4 of their 5 wins came up against backup quarterbacks. Will Levis is not a starter. I mean, if you want to count him a starter, sure, but that's still 3 of the 5 were against backups. Jacoby Brissett's not the starter. He was a starter in that game, technically, yeah. But Drake May's a starter. He didn't end the season as a starter. Mason Rudolph ended the season as a starter for the Titans. So you get where I'm going with this. The Jets had 5 wins, and they were not against good teams, except for the Texans team that made the playoffs. So out of the possible 17 games that you played, you only beat 1 playoff team. And that's with a full season of Aaron Rodgers. And I get it. He was coming off of an Achilles injury. I get it that he got better, statistically speaking, in the second half of the season. Once Devontae Adams got here, oh yeah, they were so great. They weren't. I think that's a myth that needs to be, busted. So you look at some of the stats from Aaron Rodgers throughout the season. Let me pull them up here. So they had one of the least efficient passing offenses in the NFL. You look, and it's like, well, what do you mean? They weren't that good? No, they weren't that good. Rodgers had a QBR that was 31st in the league, an EPA of 19th, success rate of 27th, yards per attempt was 30th, quarterback rating was 22nd. That's a bottom half quarterback in this league. They were 24th in total offense, 25th in points scored. And when Adams came along, Jets scored the 23rd most points in the league. They're 25th for the year in totality. So they improved a little bit with Devontae Adams, but not as much as everybody thinks. With Adams, they scored 20.2 points per game. With Devontae Adams, still bottom 10 in the NFL. They did go from 25 to 23rd overall, but that's not a huge jump. Aaron Rodgers had a few wow moments that made you go, wow, there's a 4-time MVP. And I understand when you cling on to those moments, it's like, all right, but can we just get a full season out of him? We did have a full season out of him. Can we get a full healthy season out of him? You're not going to. That is a huge reason why it is in the best interest of the New York Jets moving forward to move off of Aaron Rodgers. He is 42 years old. When's the last time he played a fully healthy season? He wasn't a fully healthy 2022. He had similar numbers, actually, in 2022 as he did in 2024. And that's what got him traded. Granted, they were also trying to move on to Jordan Love, but You figure after 2022, there were 2 teams that were interested in him? There weren't a lot of teams lining up for Aaron Rodgers back then. Now he's come off of an Achilles injury. He's only gotten older. And he's showing that he's not adapting to the league. He's not adapting to offenses. Modern offenses, he's getting outdated. He's becoming a relic back there. He's standing up. He's a statue. He's not fitting in 2025. He's not. Yes, when he's fully healthy and playing at his best, he is an MVP. He is a Hall of Fame quarterback. But you're not going to see that for long stretches anymore, guys. I hate to break it to you. But you're probably not going to win many more games with Aaron Rodgers than you are with Tyrod Taylor. Probably not. For every excuse on why Tyrod Taylor can't win games, you can make the same argument for Aaron Rodgers at this point in their career. They're both going to get hurt. With Aaron Rodgers lasting the full 17 games, I think that makes him more likely to get hurt in another season. What are the chances he's going to go back-to-back seasons of 17 games he plays in? Healthy. He wasn't even healthy this year. He is not that guy anymore. He's simply not. His body's only getting worse. His mobility. It was watching a statue back there at times. Multiple times. His yards per attempt is one of the lowest in the league because every time he stepped back to pass, it'd be 1, 2, all right, I'm getting the ball out in the flat. I'm not pushing the ball downfield. If I am pushing the ball downfield, it's one step. Oh, there's Devontae Adams. I'm just going to throw him up a fake. And it'll work occasionally. But you cannot rely on that. You cannot have an offense in 2025 as predicated on strictly getting the ball to Devontae Adams and just forcing it to him. You have to be able to spread the ball around. There's a lot of reasons why Aaron Rodgers just isn't a fit for the Jets, and a big reason is his age. Yes, you can make the case that if you're trying to win in 2025, of the options available, Aaron Rodgers probably gives you that best chance. I get that, which makes me sound like a hypocrite. But you're another 4 plays in, Achilles tear away from that completely crumbling. And then you're in another hole. And then you're setting your team back another year. Rip the Band-Aid off. Yes, Aaron Rodgers can still make some plays, but is he competing in the AFC? Is he competing with the likes of Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, the up-and-coming Drake May, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert? Come on, guys. He's not. I know you want to so bad for a winner here. I do too. I want to be able to turn a football game on. I want to be able to turn the Jets game on. I know we got a guy that we have our future. And I thought we had that with Darnold. I was fooled. I thought we had that with Wilson. I was fooled. 4 plays into 2023, I knew I was fooled again. I'm tired of getting fooled like that. I know you guys are too. I know you guys all feel the same. We're all tired. All tired. And it was just time. It's just time. You look at around the league right now. Who's lining up for Aaron Rodgers? Crickets. Nobody is. Nobody wants Aaron Rodgers. He's not that guy. Teams were not lining up for him after 2022 when the Jets traded for him, guys. And he's only older. He's only more broken and battered. The Jets' offensive line wasn't even that bad this year. You're looking around, and who is lining up to go all in on Aaron Rodgers? Yeah, the options are not that great. They are not that great this year. Which is why if you make a move for moving off of Aaron Rodgers, it sucks because I know we all want to win. We have a 14-year playoff drought, the longest playoff drought in Major League Sports. We all know that, and we all want to see that end. We don't want to see it hit 15, 16, 17. But if you are willing to risk it for the biscuit, if you're willing to go all in just to end the playoff drought and sell yourselves for 1 year of a wild card level success, all you, man. But ultimately, we have to think about the future. And Aaron Rodgers being here does not help the future. It actually significantly impacts it from a negative standpoint. It only hurts us moving forward. Financially speaking, culturally speaking. Yeah, I know, like, well, how are you supposed to build a winning culture if you don't win? With the right guys. And I don't think Aaron Glenn and Aaron Rodgers are a good mesh for each other. Aaron Glenn wants to build a team that's about all 53. And say what you want about Aaron Rodgers, he's kind of a me guy. He is. I hate to break it to you guys, but he's kind of a me guy. Yeah, I know teammates love him, but he's not a guy that's gonna... He might buy into the whole all 53 thing, but at this stage in his career, maybe he's probably not going to. Old dogs don't learn new tricks. That's another issue. You look at, the biggest thing that I see constantly with the whole Aaron Rodgers thing is, if it weren't for Greg Zuerlein against the Bills, we're probably a playoff team. We don't know that. We don't. Yeah, they probably do win that Bills game, but what do they do moving forward? They might still end up losing to the Steelers the next week, right? And in that game, the reason the offense looked better was because of the Todd Downing change and Rodgers doing the Todd Downing playbook. Todd Downing, there was more motion, there was more movement in that game than you really saw the rest of the year. After that game, Aaron Rodgers went back to, I'm going to audible this. I'm not calling movement. I'm not motioning. I'm just going straight up to the line, making a read, and getting the damn ball out. And they were a pass-heavy team with a 41-year-old quarterback. They were a pass-heavy team. I thought that Aaron Rodgers coming here, they were going to lean more on Breece Hall. They did not. Especially in the goal line, which is weird. You figure 11 of Aaron Rodgers' 28 touchdowns came within the 5. Most teams hand those off to their star running backs. But Aaron Rodgers needed a pad of stats. I hate to sound like a dick like that, but it's true. We got to a point later on where you look at that Bills game, that Rams game, he was forcing it. He wanted number 500 to beat Devontae Adams, and you could tell he was forcing that shit. He's just not that guy anymore, guys. And with what the Jets want to do here offensively, he's not a fit. He's not a guy that can run the Lions offense. He's told us before he does not want to learn, he will not learn a new offense. He came over to the Jets because of Nathaniel Hackett. That was a big reason. There's a reason the Jets got Nathaniel Hackett, and there's a reason he came here, because of Nathaniel Hackett, guys. He didn't want to have to change up what he knew. He's not going to. Again, old dogs don't learn new tricks. He's an old dog. This isn't 32-year-old Aaron Rodgers. We're getting 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers. I know he's 41, but he's going to be 42 by the end of the season. By the end of 2025. So let's look at how he performed in 2024. So the 49ers game, first game, shaking the rust off, right? It was kind of meh. Had a good drive, but really kind of meh. Beat the Titans, beat the Patriots. You're looking at 2-1. You're coming off that Patriots game, and it's like, whoa. We're about to go. We've got the Broncos on deck, the Vikings. Nobody was really bought into yet. It looks like we could have a really good stretch before we get to the Bills. And then that's where, after that Patriots game, everything started to fall apart. The Broncos, that game was atrocious. Atrocious. what was Aaron Rodgers' stats in that Broncos game? Because everything, they put up 9 points at home. Aaron Rodgers threw the ball 42 times and only had 225 yards. No touchdowns. And then the Vikings, he had 3 interceptions in that game, and then he threw Mike Williams under the bus. Like, Mike Williams isn't the reason you guys lost. Rodgers, you still threw 3 interceptions. Then the Bills game, offense looked better. He looked better. They were in Todd Downing's system, right? And then the Greg Zuerlein, I get it. The Patriots, he was not that good. The Steelers, he was not that good. The Patriots, they were not that good. They lost to Drake May. The Texans, first half, shit. Second half, great. The Cardinals, bad. Colts, bleh. He didn't even have 200 yards passing in that game. In most of these games too, he was like top 5 in the league in pass attempts this year. Seahawks, first quarter was good. The rest of the way though, not really. The Dolphins, that first Dolphins game, he had good games against the Dolphins actually. 300 plus yards passing against the Dolphins. And they'll loss. Jaguars played well. Rams was bad. Bills, oh my god. I understand the season is 18 games long. An 18-game season, or 18-week season, 17 games. If 2024 was a 16-game season with 17 weeks, and the Jets ended here, we would not be having this conversation about is it a good idea or not. We'd all pretty much, I feel like most of the fan base would be on board with like, yeah, let's get that out of here. Because it was that bad. The Jets were down 33-0 after 3 quarters before they put Tyrod Taylor in. And then he had the game against the Dolphins, that 4-touchdown game, and that game felt like a swan song type game where we're all talking about like, should the Jets bring him back? Should they not? Should they bring him back? Should they not? After that game, it kind of felt like the possibility of him just deciding, you know what, I'm just going to hang it up. I'm just going to call it quits. I'm going to retire from here and increase a little bit. Now, I'm sure the competitive spirit and the guy that wants to catch a little bit more records and climb up further in those passing stats, I'm sure he wants to come back. But then again, who's going to bring him? Who's lining up for Aaron Rodgers? And you can tell the Jets are the only fan base that is upset Aaron Rodgers is not on their team. Every other fan base is fine that Aaron Rodgers is not on their team. Kind of tells you something. Kind of tells you that the rest of the league understands that Aaron Rodgers just isn't that guy anymore, and we need to let the idea of him go. I haven't even gotten into the financial implications. We are 20 plus minutes into this, and I haven't even touched on the financial implications of the Jets moving up, or keeping Aaron Rodgers or moving off of them. So, I mean, if the Jets were to keep him, let's put it this way. Keeping Aaron Rodgers creates $8,600 or $86.5 million in cap charges versus $49 million in cap charges. Financial implications of him being on this team and not being on this team was huge. You take the hit now. The Jets will not. Aaron Rodgers wasn't going to be on this team in 2026, so why are you still paying and worrying about it? Why are you risking 26 and 27 for a guy that's not even... He's competing for third best in his own division heading into the season? Because, let's be honest, guys. Sorry. Excuse me, my bad. Josh Allen's number 1 in the East. Number 2 is probably going to be Drake May. Damn it! And then third, you're fighting with Tua. And like, that's who you're fighting with. You may not even be third best in your own division in 2025 if you were the Jets quarterback, Rodgers. And like, I already named the AFC quarterbacks. I didn't even name CJ Stroud. The Titans are going to probably draft the quarterback first overall. Like, there's some possibilities there. Like, that he could be better. Like, I didn't even name Lamar. Did I? I don't think I named Lamar. There's so many quarterbacks that are better in the AFC alone. You're not breaking through. You are not getting past if you are Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, because you just don't have that in you. You have some moments where you can thread the needle and make some damn good looking passes. But it's mostly dink, dunk, one step, it's out. And it doesn't work like that anymore. You have to have mobility, and he just doesn't anymore. Now, he used to have his mobility used to be underrated, but this stage in his career, it's just not there. I am so appreciative of the fact that Aaron Rodgers wanted to come here. Sucks that we only got one season. And it wasn't even a fully healthy season. And you can look at the stats all you want. Like, oh, he had 3,800 passing yards, but again, he was 30th among qualifying quarterbacks in completion percentage. He threw the second most pass attempts in the NFL. 9 of his 17 starts had a negative EPA. Threw for 300 yards once, finished 26 in EPA per attempt for the season, 30th in air yards per attempt. So by the NFL standards, he was average. Right? Was he terrible? Was he this monstrosity of a quarterback? No. But he wasn't the Hall of Famer that we were all promised when he got here. And for everybody that's holding on, it's like, oh, the Jets, like the people that have such big hard-ons for Aaron Rodgers right now. It'd be one thing if he had his Hall of Fame career here, but he didn't. He had a Hall of Fame career and then came here. It's not the same as Peyton Manning and the Broncos. It's not the same as Tom Brady and the Bucs, because they won. Ultimately, paint the picture any way you want it, but the facts are the Jets, in a full season with Aaron Rodgers, managed to only win 5 games. Yes, so many variables at play, but at the end of the day, 5 wins. 5. You traded for Aaron Rodgers. You got Devontae Adams. You brought in some of Rodgers' buddies like Lazard and Nathaniel Hackett. And you got 5 wins. 6, I guess, technically, because of the game where he, popped his Achilles and broke all of our hearts. In 2 years, you got 6 wins in games that he started. It's time to move on. It's time to let go of this dream that he can be that guy again. I'd like to see one more season of Aaron Rodgers reaching his full potential, but it's not here. And, there's a whole different conversation on where does Rodgers go, and I think that conversation is what quarterback is going to get hurt this offseason on a team that has Super Bowl aspirations. I don't think he's a fit with the Rams. Again, they try moving the pocket. They're a little bit more mobile. Maybe the Steelers, which I know Steelers fans hate. I know Dylan's going to hate that one. But there's some familiarity with Arthur Smith's system, seeing as he is a branch off of Matt LaFleur's tree. So maybe Steelers. Plus, I think him and Tomlin could mesh well together. Titans, he has a place in Tennessee, in Nashville. But they're not ready to win, I don't think. Raiders, shit, maybe. maybe Pete Carroll wants to win now. And if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm trying to go back to the NFC. I think I'd have a better chance to win from the NFC, but it was just time, guys. And it was in the best interest of this team moving forward to cut bait. Rip the Band-Aid off, cut bait. You take the cap hit, and you take all the dead money that you can, and you mortgage 2025. And I know we all want the playoff draft to end, and this year's probably not going to be fun. Because who's going to be at quarterback? I don't know. Tyrod Taylor, another veteran. I don't know if I would count Jordan Travis in there just because it sounds like he had a setback with his injury. Probably draft a guy day 3. It's going to be uninspiring. We're going to try buying into it the best we can, but it's going to be uninspiring. But we have to give Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji a chance to build this team right. Because we could take that dopamine hit of a wild card run in 2025 like we did 2015. 10 years ago. 10 years ago was the last time that the Jets had a winning season. And it was kind of similar to this. Actually, very similar. New head coach, new general manager, new quarterback. Now, if they would have kept Aaron Rodgers, you'd have like that Brian Fitzpatrick, Aaron Rodgers comparison there, but that was a fun run, right? That was the last time we probably had fun as a Jets fan, except for a few moments. What happened after that? Like, this is Badlands. Joe Caporoso from Badlands hit the nail right on the head with this one. We had a great 2015. Ultimately didn't make the playoffs, but we had some fun. They went all in on that. We got our hit. We got our high from that. But man, once that wore off, it was shit. It was terrible. The Jets were not good after that. 2016, 17 were not good years. 2018 was Darnold's rookie year. 2019 was Adam Gase. So do you really want to risk 2025? Go all in on 2025 just to be garbage in 26, 27, 28? If you are the Jets, and Aaron Glenn said this, he's trying to build sustained success. I think you have to get guys like Aaron Rodgers out. You have to completely move on, rebuild your culture, restart, refresh. See what you can do. It's been a long time. This is over half an hour of me talking and riffing, but overall, this sucks that we got to this point, but it was in the best interest of the New York Jets, probably even Aaron Rodgers, for them to let go because of his age, his durability. He is a distraction. Whether you want to admit it or not, he is. The buy-in. And the money. The money plays a huge role in this. And yeah, we're probably going to lose in 2025. We're probably not going to win a lot of games. But like I said at the top of the pod, probably winning about close to the same number of games with Tyrod Taylor as you are Aaron Rodgers. So we'll see what we can do moving forward. I did want to hop on here though and get my thoughts on the whole situation and just say, like, it sucks. Again, I'm going to continue repeating that because it does. Breaks my heart that this is what we've come to, but can you do? Ultimately, it was the right decision, I think. Time will tell. Yeah, so stay tuned to the feed here at Party Jet Sports. We're going to try getting a lot of good content out this offseason. Probably a lot of draft-related content. Probably drop something once a week in terms of draft stuff here. If it's team mock drafts, if it's top 10, we'll get some. It's going to be a lot of draft heavy. We'll probably do some free agency stuff, but we're bigger into the draft around here at Party Chat Sports. So stay tuned for everything that we're doing at Party Chat Sports. Make sure you follow us on TikTok. Twitter updates you on everything, on all the podcasts and everything else that we're posting. Follow us on YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. So anywhere and everywhere. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your loved ones, tell the people that you know in your life that love sports to check us out anywhere and everywhere, all at Party Chat Sports. Until next time, so all have a good week. JTS.